This is by far the most questions that I get. How the hell do I go find opportunities out there?
Acquisitions is like a sales funnel. You've got to fill your funnel with opportunities. Mergers and acquisitions, it's a hot topic at the moment, right? Everybody seems to be talking about it. Everyone wants to do it. Seems to be the idea is to fast track growth, fast track your path to an exit. And we're here to talk about a lot of the metrics that we've had experience in ourselves. And
what's fun is going to be comparing notes, like how are things done in Australia versus how are things done in the United States. I think there's a lot of similarities here, and I think it'll be fun. So the subject of today's episode is how to actually find deals. This is by far the most questions that I get. Well, I'm ready. I want to. This is the way that I want of the future. How the hell do I go find opportunities out there, Nick? So I know you just passed through an acquisition. How did you actually find your acquisition? What was that acquisition that you actually stumbled upon? Were you looking for it? Did you where were you?
Yep. Yeah. Good question. So this one came through a broker, if you like, but it came to me because I was actively looking, right? So I was having conversations, and that's where it starts. Is what's the kind of business you're looking for? Who are the people that are in those businesses? And go and having conversations. Now, I don't necessarily want to do my deals through brokers all the time. Broker's mission, like selling property, is to get as much as he can for the business, right? But because I was out there, I had my feelers out there. This one came to me and they said, Nick, we know you're looking. We know this is in your space. We've got something you could be interested in. So, we went through and this one made sense. But I think it starts by having conversations. Who are the types of businesses that you're looking for? And you want to have a buy box, right? A buy box is businesses that fit a certain profile, maybe a certain revenue, certain profitability, certain location, certain industry, and go and have conversations with these people. A lot of people either haven't thought about their exit strategy, and so when you bring it up, they go, or they have thought about it and they've done nothing about it yet.
What's interesting about selling your business, you can't really share that you want to sell your business with anyone, right? You don't want to be talking to your employees about selling your business. You don't want to be talking to your friends about selling your business. What the hell do they know? Typically, unless you have good friends in that level. So, in my experience, there's multiple different ways of looking for deals. We'll talk about the buy box and what that buy box should look like for anybody that's looking for a business. Everybody's buy box is different, but from my experience, when you're looking for that opportunity to buy a business, there's only several ways that you can find it. Obviously, business brokers or M&A advisors or investment bankers, as you pointed out, is exactly the way you go forward. You got to develop a relationship with them. It's not like looking online and clicking on more information. You got to be in the game so that people know who you are, that you're real. There's a lot of tire kickers out there. So as a broker speaking, we disqualify more than 60% of people that are looking for deals because we are not here to waste our time, and we want to talk to the right people. So business brokers obviously is a good target. More importantly, if I'm thinking about a seller, the sellers are talking to key people. They're accountants, they're financial advisors, they're bankers, and they're attorneys. Maybe their spouse. But that's a maybe. Accountants over spouse, usually, my experience. Right? So if you're thinking about, hey, potentially I want to sell, who do you talk? How do you even figure this out? You don't really start talking to the broker or advisor. You usually talk to an accountant. So it's important to, in my experience, if you are looking for those opportunities, you need to be talking to your accountant and your attorney and your financial advisor and your networking in this same demographic and spreading the word. This is what I'm looking for. This is how I'm looking to go forward in the future. Nick, how long did it take you to find the business? You said you were in the weeds of looking for one.
Yeah.
before you stumbled upon this one?
Yeah, probably nearly 12 months. Before we found the right target. Now, I've got various other conversations at various stages, right? And some of those I've made approaches. Some of those they've approached me, and maybe it was a different. So I'll give you another example. Is that we've got somebody who said, "Hey, we'd like to partner up with you and sell your products in our market," for example, right? And I go, "Hey, listen, that's interesting," and that's a conversation to be had. But we're interested in growing too. And what would it look like if we actually came together and did that? And so that conversation is now evolving. So that process took nearly 12 months, I guess, from when I started looking to where we found one that made sense. And we'll get into that in other episodes too. As we know, we've got Adam Coffey in our network that says you don't want a dog with fleas, but does the business make sense? But it's like, to me, acquisitions is like a sales funnel. You've got to fill your funnel with opportunities, because not every opportunity you find is going to make sense or is going to go through. And you need to have a lot of conversations to find the jewel in the crown.
That makes a lot of sense. Obviously, before you start talking to financial advisors and accountants and your network and your friends and other business owners, other business brokers, you want to have an idea of what you're actually looking for. And I feel like that's always too broad of a spectrum. People are looking for just whatever they could find, and that's not really a good structure. In my experience, you really want to develop what we call a buy box of a perfect company that will be within the means of funding that I'm able to raise or afford, and B, your individual experience of operating the company if you are the operator. And I think it's just as important as financial capacity. If you are not if you don't understand the business, if you have no opportunities or experience in it, a lot of the time is harder. Were you always looking, like, in the company in your industry? What was your buy box when you were when you're looking to buy a business? How were you looking at?
Yeah, so looking at revenue and EBITDA were two key factors, and obviously market fit, because this is a roll-up strategy, right? So we're in healthcare in this particular business. There's no point us going and buying a HVAC business. It doesn't make sense for us. So it had to be relevant in terms of our industry, and then geographically, we're in Australia here, big country, lots of space. We need to get geographic penetration.
Well,
so
not that big.
Well,
I mean, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
geographically. So it's funny. I'm sure it was the Americans that showed us how much bigger America is compared to Australia on the map. But when you overlay them, it's like almost the same size. But listen, we don't have the population to even have that argument. So, but it was this particular one ticked a lot of those boxes. Didn't tick the geographical one for us, but because it was such a good opportunity in the right space, it still made sense for us in terms of looking at just size and scale.
What was your EBITDA target? Like, what companies were you looking for? Were you looking for in any what was the range that you looked? And I'll give you my feedback on what I think the range is.
Yeah, so we were looking at anything north of $500,000 to $2 million in terms of EBITDA. So this one's north of $1 million that we bought. That was something that was really, I guess, approachable for us. It wasn't too big. It fits. It was a smaller business in terms of size, so it was easier for us to kind of take that on and bring that into what we were doing.
I mean, we didn't compare notes as when we were talking before.
No, we're shooting from the hip.
But $500,000 of EBITDA is really when you start being a company. If you buy the company, and especially if it's your first company, and you buy in a company that is less than $500,000 EBITDA, there's just not enough money to go around to hire the appropriate management, to pay your debt coverage, and actually have some money, some cushion left over for growth. Because when you buy the company, you got to put the money back. You got to grow this baby. so that it get to the next level. When I'm looking at my buy box, obviously I'm looking at what type of business that I want. I want a good business that has reoccurring revenue. If I'm starting from scratch, if I'm not in the business, I'm looking for my platform company. I'm looking for a business that has some level of recurring revenue. It's a need, not a want. So I want to make sure this company is not going to tank with when the economy goes down. I want to make sure, like, if it's, my roof leaks, I'm gonna call a roofing company to fix my roof because I can't live with the hole in the wall. Want, not need. I want to make sure that there's a history and a brand that's already been established. It's important. You're buying a company with historic cash flows, so I want to make sure that the company didn't just make money last year. I want to make sure that the company has been profitable year over year. And then that's the buy box. I think one of the most important parts of building a buy box is going into an industry where you can make multiple acquisitions, because growing company organically is so freaking hard. I mean, Nick, you've grown your company organically for how many years?
15.
Right? And in the matter of a year, you added
50, 50%.
serious amount of growth, right?
Mm.
Just looking back, thinking how much money it would cost to even get to that point of marketing and hiring people, and training people, and losing money. It just, acquisition is always, most likely, always the best way, 90% of the time, to grow the company over time. So I'm looking for big variety. So I don't want to buy a
Yep.
company. I don't want to buy a bookstore that then
Yep.
I can't do anything else with it.
And there's a lot of opportunities out there at the moment too, right? Like I say, you've got to have the conversations. That can be a phone call. It's actually a really easy phone call to have. It's like, hey, listen, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm looking for. Are you open to a conversation about an acquisition? I'd like to have a look at your business. It can be as simple as that. You can send messages out to people on LinkedIn or Facebook. There's so many people looking to plan their exit out of their business now. And just the other week, I had a conversation with a company. I didn't go there for this, but I thought this is a good company. It's run well. So I raised the topic. I said, hey, listen, what is your strategy? What is your plan for the business? And it came, I said, it's funny you should ask that. We're looking at planning our exit at the moment. Our kids are not interested in taking over. This is the other thing at the moment. There's a lot of people that are at an age where they want to get out of the business within the next, 5 to 7 years, maybe less. And for whatever reason, this next generation doesn't want to take on the business that their parents have built up. And so they're left with a challenge, right? What do I do with this thing? I can't close the doors on it, or it's a wasted time. I need to find a way to exit. And I think and mergers and acquisitions is the way to go.
Our average, our in-house average, because we do buy-side advisory work for larger firms, our average is 8 to 9 times. So it takes us 8 to 9 different touches, different circulations of a contact to actually get any interaction with the business owners. Especially now in the age where nobody picks up the freaking phone. When people are picking up the phones, you could get somebody on the call at least the third time or the fourth time. We would even do like the hang up and the redial, anything to get somebody on the call. Now, like, you almost have to schedule a meeting to talk to somebody about a meeting. So that's become a little bit more complicated. Yes, there's more ways of marketing. You can email, like you said, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can send mailers. You can do a lot of different things. As long as you know who you're targeting, what is that buy box. You have a very meticulous prospect list of companies that you want to get. There's opportunity for you to make this acquisition. When I'm working on strategically, like what you did, like when I'm working with a strategic buyer and I'm looking to add another acquisition, you have a leg up into those conversations. Like, hey, I am looking to partner potentially with a client. Just like you said, partnership doesn't sound scary. It's funny that I started doing this professionally 13 years ago. nobody would knew what business broker is or what the hell M&A stands for. I literally had to explain. My first conversation on the phone was like, well, I'm a business broker. Well, what does that mean? Well, let me explain. I help clients buy and sell companies when people are planning for retirement. Oh, wow, I didn't know there's such a thing exists. And I would always say, well, I'm like a realtor for businesses.
Yeah.
Not anymore. Not anymore. People are a lot more educated now about the space. So that conversation is a lot easier. And the banking is a lot easier. And the whole market is a lot easier. And what's funny is there are more people now that are looking to sell their companies than ever before. Like this is the perfect opportunity. Hope people will take advantage of this. Anything else, Nick, that we're forgetting?
No, look, I think, as I said, people probably are going to do one or two things. They either have a business and they're looking to scale, or one of probably three things. They have a business and they're looking to exit, or they don't have a business, but that's what they want to get into. And so, really, this is just the start of the whole process of mergers and acquisitions. So we spoke about, industry related. Who do you know? Accountants, lawyers, solicitors. Just picking up phone call and making a phone call and having a meeting and having a conversation. But you've got to treat it like a sales funnel. You've got to have lots of conversations. You've got to fill that funnel to find. You kiss a lot of frogs to find the prince, right?
And if you don't know what your buy box should look like, if you're not sure which industry you should be concentrating on, they go out to businessforsale.com, BizBuySell, BizQuest, tons of directories. Look at companies. They are all out there. It's all free. It's free.
Yeah.
Look at the company. Look at the information. Figure out for yourself what company makes sense, because you're gonna look at a lot of ugly companies before you find something that will trigger. Because it's a long process. There's nothing quick here. Don't want to mislead people. This is not something that is done quick. Nick did it in 12 months, and that's quick.
That's quick.
That's actually pretty quick. But if you're in it for a long term, this is by far the best way to scale, grow a company, and make some for good.
100%, and that's what we're in it for. So there you go. That's how to start finding deals, right?
We want to see people commenting like, "Hey, I found this deal. This is where I'm going. I'm wishing in a year people call us up and say, "Hey, I listened to you guys. I went to BizBuySell, BizQuest.com. I started contacting my accountant, and I got a deal. God damn it!
Finally. Yeah. Let us know. And and is there any other way that you found deals too? Put it in the chat, in the comments. What is there anything we haven't thought of that you've done to find deals, find opportunities to buy and acquire and grow your business and set up? I think what all of us kind of want to do, and that is a life of security and a life of maybe multi-generational wealth for our families as well.
Awesome. Well, let's end on that note. Don't forget to like, subscribe, high five, whatever it requires to spread the word so that we can do more episodes and bring some more value.
Share it.